Okay, we still have a couple of minutes yet to go, but today, all you're going to need are blocks and maybe a towel. And I've had a few people mention that, their core, their sides are and abdomen are hurting a little bit from different reasons. So we're going to do a couple of poses that is going to directly address particularly your obliques and your quadratus lumbarum. Those are the muscles that tie in the front parts of your ribs down to the top of your pelvis on each side. And those are the ones that you use when you're twisting. And so that should help. Also, let's see. Oh, we're going to be doing Dragonfly, which is a straddle. And I know most women don't use a block, they don't use anything underneath your sit bones. And that's fine. But today we're going to do that a little different. We're going to, it's something we haven't done before. We're going to face one of the outstretched legs and fold over that. And that will stretch your side. But what I've found is that whenever I get my hips up, even the thickness of a rolled up towel, by the time I crunch it down with my two sit bones, it's probably only half an inch, 3/4 of an inch, but that makes a world of difference. So other than that, I think we're okay. And we are going to do the balancing that I've been threatening to do for the last 3 weeks. I've run out of time. So anyway, my name is Clint, and this is Yin Yoga. And we start this with balance. So come to the top of your mat, get into Tadasana, so your feet are hip width apart. Again, just like a broken record, your two fists should fit in between your insteps. Stand up tall. Lift your shoulders up towards your ears. Roll them to the back so that your shoulder blades kiss. Then just let your shoulder blades drift down your back. Isometrically draw your feet toward each other. Isometrically so that all the muscles of your legs get engaged. From here, take the upper inner thighs, rotate them towards the back. And then that creates an opening, and tuck your tailbone under, tilting your pelvis back. Breathe in and out through your nose, your own natural breath. And then take the crown of your head, that's the back part of your head, up towards the ceiling, and tuck your chin in just a little bit. Your gaze is off at the horizon. Just notice where your palms are facing. That's a function of how your humerus fits into your scapula in that shoulder joint. Everybody's slightly different. And then just relax all your muscle, but maintain your posture. Lift your toes and then spread them wide and place them back down. And then slowly bring your weight into your left foot. You can change your focus point onto some other point that's not moving, maybe the floor 6 or 10 feet in front of you. Begin to lift that right foot up off the ground 1 inch. And from here, inhale, bring that sole forward. Your arms are there to help you stay upright, but notice all the little shakes that your body is doing. That's your fascia reacting. If your brain had to make all these micro adjustments, you'd be on the floor already because your brain can't function that quickly. And then let's try bringing that foot out towards the right so that your footprint goes on the sidewall. This is using your hip flexors. And then come back to center. And now bring your foot back towards this, towards standing, but don't stand. Just bring that foot back behind you. You probably have to lean forward. And then a trick I can tell you is if you bend that front knee just a little bit, it helps you straighten out that back leg. And we all step down, at least tired. So let's attack the other leg. Back to Tadasana. And try to get into Tadasana the same way every time. It doesn't have to be in the order that I described, but something that's meaningful to you. Weight into the right foot. Lift that left foot up off the mat, 1 inch. And then bring that foot up towards the far wall. You might be nailing it today, but tomorrow might be a really challenging day. That's just because your body is different every day. And then bring that foot out to the side, keeping your foot as close to vertical as you can get so that you're rotating your femur in your hip socket. And then come back to center. And then lower that foot down. Step that up. Maybe make some hula hoop moves. Back to Tadasana. On your next inhale, lift that right foot up 1 inch. And then just begin to bring that foot behind you. Rotate that leg back, being straight. You might not get very far, which is okay. But if you want to try and do an experiment, bend that left knee just a little bit and notice what happens. Gives your hips more space. And then bring your foot down. And walk that up. Back to Tadasana. Weight into your right foot. Lift the left. And then bring that left foot towards the back. Trying to keep that leg straightish. And then try bending that front knee just a little bit. I hope that wasn't somebody's bones. That was your titanium knee. And then come back to center. Okay, now for the fun part. Okay, so this is what we didn't do last week. So what I'd like you to do is bring your left foot in front of your right so that your heel and toe touch. And then just play by bringing more weight onto the left foot or the right foot and see what seems to be more stable. Maybe it doesn't matter. And then once you're stable, if you become stable, then you can always go up on a wall, bring your hands out together, palms together, straight in front of you. And then keeping your eyes forward on your, say your left fingers, bring your right arm out to the side and all the way twisting your chest, all the way to the right, still looking forward. And then bring that arm all the way back. I'm going to do this on the other side and notice the weight in your feet, where most of the weight is. Have you changed it at all? In your inhale, get back. One more degree of difficulty. This time, with your eyes, follow your right hand as it goes out. And then return. And then your left hand. Follow it with your eyes. And then release. Step that out a little bit. Feel like I just spent a day on a boat. Okay, right foot in front of the left. Same thing. It's just going to be the same. Bring your hands together. Start with the left this time. Keep your eyes forward. This is giving your body some sense, some muscle memory to tell you that you're stable when you're looking at your hand with your eyes. So then your right arm up. And then back. This time, follow that left hand. Notice the weight from your feet. Are you bringing it back? Are you making adjustments? And then your right arm. And then release. Shake out your shoulders. Okay, now the easy part. Put your left foot out in front again. Bring your hands in front. Close your eyes. Just stay here. Don't move. Just stay upright. I don't want to pick up anybody off the floor, so obviously, when you need to open your eyes, open them. And then open your eyes, lower your hands down, shake that out. Left foot still in front. Bring your hands forward, look at your hands, close your eyes. Then bring that right arm out. Keep your head forward. Come all the way behind. And then all the way forward. And then your left arm all the way out. And then all the way forward. Release. Okay, right leg, we're almost done. Bring your hands together. Close your eyes. Listen to your breath. Slowing down your breathing will help you maintain your balance. And then open your eyes. Shake that out. Championship round. Last time. Bring your arms out in front. Right foot in front. Look at your hands, look at your fingers, close your eyes. Bring your left arm out. And all the way back. Your head stays forward. And then return. And then your right arm comes out. And then returns. Open your eyes. Shake that out. And just like my yoga instructor back home used to say, that it's been clinically proven, if your eyes are closed, nobody can see you. So you guys were perfect. Okay, so today we're going to start in yoga squat. So it'll be a supported squat. So you can sit on a block, you can sit on a bolster, you can sit on 2 blocks. And you can get there any way you want. You can set the blocks up. I have mine 6 inches. They could be 4 or 8 or 9. But you can sit down and then bring your feet out in front if you wish, or you can just spread your feet roughly at 10 and 2. Bring your palms together and then just sink down. Let your support come down onto your blocks. Lift your chest high. Allow your eyes to close. Take a deep cleansing breath in through your nose. And exhale out through your nose. Again, in through your nose. Out through your nose. And let your breath come to its own natural rhythm, in and out through your nose. Your elbows are pushing your knees away, and your knees are pushing your elbows in. Find just the perfect amount of tension in your groins and in your feet. And then just pause there. Begin to soften those muscles. Feel what's happening with your shoulder blades. Relax them. And let them be drawn down by gravity. You may feel like your neck is getting longer as your shoulders come down. Throughout today's practice, your natural breath is all that you'll need. but there may be a time or two that you need to calm your body. So you'll take another diaphragmatic breath, which will instantly relieve your nervous system, slow down your heart rate, reduce your blood pressure, and produce a sense of calmness throughout your body so that you can begin to relax again. And breathing in and out through your nose promotes all the systems around your parasympathetic nervous system, the relaxation and soft side of your existence. Your sympathetic nervous system is the fight or flight part of your existence, where your muscles reside. And together, they seek a balance. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next exhale, release your hands. Walk your feet forward. Come off of the blocks. Set them aside. Bring your hands behind your hips. And do a couple of windshield wipers. And feel what's happening in your muscles as you go from left to right. Notice how much of your body is involved with this. All with your shoulders and your pecs. And the next time you come to center pause, bring your heels forward. This next pose is caterpillar. So caterpillar in Hatha, this would be called Dandasana, but I'm going to get up on my block because I want to use gravity because I have such tight hamstrings, but you don't have to. This is where you may want to use a towel just underneath those sit bones, just for a micro amount of height. From here, lift your spine tall, gaze forward, and then slowly walk your hands on the outsides of your legs, drawing your collarbones towards your feet, and the crown of your head towards the far wall. Try tilting your pelvis forward by moving the person behind you and see if you can go any farther. And then begin to relax. Begin to soften your spine. You can feel this in both your hamstrings and your spine, and probably your calf muscles. Those two big ones behind your shin are your gastrocnemius, your catchy name. Your gaze, if your eyes were open, would be straight down at the floor. You don't want to be stretching your neck here. In fact, just test your neck by drawing a couple of circles on the mat with your nose. Maybe you can begin to release your toes. Maybe your toes just want to fall towards the front of your mat, maybe not. If you'd like to change your shoulder position, bring your arms up onto your shins. Your palms reaching up towards, but facing up towards the ceiling. So that gives you an internal rotation on that shoulder side. Should feel pretty good. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next inhale, walk your hands back towards your hips, lifting your chest high. If you're on the block, carefully remove it. Set those aside. I'm going to do another set of windshield wipers. So play with this. Maybe change your foot locations. Maybe change the length between your hips and your feet. If you can feel this in your glutes, that's good. Maybe if your feet are farther out, you feel it someplace else. And the next time you come to center, pause. You come to an upright seated position. Now we're going to do Dragonfly. That's the strategy that I was talking about. I'm going to use this little rolled up towel to become elevated. Spread your legs not as wide as they can possibly be, but maybe spread your legs to the maximum and then bring them back 4 inches. You want to be able to soften. You can bring a block underneath your knee if you wish. From here, lift your chest high, bring your left hand on top of your right thigh, right hand behind as a kickstand, and reach the crown of your head up towards the ceiling. Inhale, and exhale, twist to the right. And breathe here for just a couple of breaths. Feel where this twist is starting and the ending. And then on your next inhale, come back only towards your right foot. And then cross your thumbs together. And then from here, inhale tall and begin to reach your thumbs down your shins towards your foot. The idea here is to have both arms in line with each other so that your shoulders are square to your foot. This gives a more intense stretch on your left side. You may be able to feel this all the way down to the top of your pelvis. Now that your body knows what you're asking it to do, begin to soften here. Your edge in yin is to find that stretch or you can still soften those muscles being stretched. So it constantly changes. If it becomes too easy, you want to go a little bit farther. And if your muscles can't soften, back up and find a position or a modification that you can live with and have those muscles soften. Because when your muscles soften, the tension from your body position gets transferred into your fascia, stimulating fascia's growth. And that growth will give you more space for your muscles to work, which translates directly into flexibility and mobility. Allow your head to bow forward. On your next inhale, rise all the way up. Leave your right hand on your leg, but turn and look at your left leg. Inhale, and then on an exhale, begin to side bend, reaching that right arm down the inside of your right leg. Maybe your left arm wants to come behind your back. Maybe you want to take that overhead. And you're creating more space on your left side body, all the way from your kidneys up to your neck. And again, the rules are the same. If it's too challenging and your muscles can't soften, back up. Eventually you will get there. In Yin, change is in the dimension of time. So don't be over anxious. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next inhale, rise all the way back up. Set your blocks aside. Use your hands to help your legs come back to center. If you're on any props, move those away. Your hands behind your hips. Put your footprints on the mat, maybe just your heels, and then slowly windshield wiper your knees and see how different this is. The next time you come to center, pause. The next pose is going to be shoelace. So if you can get into shoelace from seated, and that's the way you want to do it, you can stay here, or you can join me, come over onto your favorite side, swing your legs behind, and come up into table. Do a couple of cat cows. And if you're still seated, do some cat cows. Walk your hands and feet, hands and knees over to the left side of your mat. And then lift your left leg up, putting your footprint on the back wall. Stretching that hamstring, and then lower that left knee behind the right. And spread your feet so that your right foot is on the left and your left foot's on the right. And then begin to walk your hands back. And come into an upright seated position with your knees stacked or close. You may need 1 or 2 blocks. A friend of mine in Detroit had 3 blocks and he was pointing about in that direction. But you have to be a man to understand that. So now that you're here, just set your hands on your legs and let your body get used to this position. Make peace with this if you can. And if you can't, you can always straighten out that left leg. And then open your eyes. Bring your left hand palm up, reach for the front right corner of your mat. Take your right arm, your right elbow underneath the left, and then try to bring your palms together. You may only get your back of your hand on your wrist, back of the wrist, or maybe not even. Maybe the most you can do is grab opposite elbows, which is completely fine. It's taken me 10 years to even get a hint of my palms together. From here, try pushing your elbows and your hands away. Feel your shoulder blades. They're being pulled apart here. And now, begin to try to lower your shoulder blades, not your hands, just your shoulder blades down your back. And notice what happens. Your arms are going to come down, and your shoulders may come away from your ears. It's almost like your head is levitating. And then on an exhale, release. Bring your arms down, bring them way out to the side. Fingers wide. You're about ready to grab somebody. Then bring your palms together. Interlace your fingers, and then supinate your hands, pushing your palms away. Inhale, raise your palms up towards the ceiling. Feel the opening of your shoulders. And then release. Your hands all the way back down. This time, bring your right arm up towards the ceiling and pat yourself on the back. Take your left arm out to the side, thumb down. Bend that elbow, bring it around behind you, and then walk that elbow up towards that other hand. And maybe you can make a bind. I'll show this side because I can bind. The other side, I'm about 8 inches short. But every side is different. Every body is different. But what you're doing here, you're opening up that right shoulder and the left at the same time, but in opposite directions. And then release. Bring your hands back down. Bend your elbows, bring your hands out to robot arms. Then grab a couple of baby birds in your hands, just so that you're not gripping. And then rock your elbows forward and backward. Bringing more synovial fluid into those shoulders. And then release. From here, we're going to be going into a table position. So the best way to get out of this for you is however it is the best way. You can just roll over your knees if that works for you, or you can kick your feet out and then make another change. But come into table. You can do some cat-cows or big circles with your hips, or curl your toes under, lift your hips up and back into down dog, which for me is a counter for every single pose there is. And then lower your knees down into table. And then pause here in table. Lift your right foot up, step on the back wall. And then on an exhale, bring that right foot up next to your right pinky finger. Coming into dragon. Now, your left knee can stay there or can go back an inch or so. I'm going to stay here in high flying dragon. And there are numerous options that I've mentioned before. One of the ones that I have latched onto recently, because it's so good on my calves, is to overstep that right knee so that the right knee goes forward of your right toes. Now, if all your weight was on this, if you were in a standing pose, you'd never do this. But in a pose where you're supported, this works well. Your Achilles and your gastrocnemius muscles are being stretched. Your soleus. Anyway, this is good, but be careful that right hip doesn't come too far forward. Try dragging that back. And as you try, maybe that right hip comes down just a little bit farther. This pose works on your hip flexors. This right now primarily is on your psoas. And you can stay here if you wish, or you can go into low flying dragon by bending your elbows, coming down onto your elbows. You can walk that right foot out to the side a little bit or a lot. Try to get that ankle underneath your knee. Your left leg is stretched out behind you with your toenails down. Now this is working on your right hip flexors, your iliacus. That's the muscle that ties into the top of your femur and along the inside rim of your pelvis. There's a lot more going on inside your pelvis than you realize. Try to keep both elbows about the same elevation. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next inhale, straighten up your arms. Walk your hands back. And then bring your right knee back to meet the left. So let yourself do a few cat-cows. Exaggerating your inhales and exhales. The next time you come to center, pause. This time, lift your left foot up and step it on the back wall. Really push that heel away. And then on an exhale, bring that left foot up next to your left pinky. And again, we're back into dragon, but on the other side. As you try to get into this pose, feel your body and where it is at the moment and what you have to do to get those muscles that you want to target. Hip flexors in the right leg, you want to feel the hip flexors right at the top of your femur, right at your hip crease. Your left leg is flexed as much as it can be. Only one of you was in my Ashtanga class yesterday. When we were doing Marichi, I was trying to get my shoulder in front of my knee. And all I had to do was turn to this pose. It's easier when you have all the weight in your chest working for you. Constantly try lowering your hips towards the mat. If you'd like to stay here, go right ahead. But if you'd like to make this a little bit different, you can bend your elbows coming down into low flying dragon and walk that foot out to the left. You can even drop that left knee out to the side into a ring dragon. Whatever's best for your body at this moment is what you want to do. But then find a way to soften into the pose. Keep your spine long. Make adjustments as your body requires. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next inhale, bring your palms back to the mat. Straighten your arms. Lifting your chest up. Walking your hands back towards your hips. Releasing your left leg. Back into table. Do some cat-cows here. Maybe some circles. Maybe that down dog. And then back down into table. Walk your hands and knees off to the right side of your mat this time. And then lifting your right leg up and back. Put your footprint on the wall. Push that heel away, stretching your hamstring. And then lower that left knee behind the right. Move that right foot over beyond the side of your mat. Your left foot to the right side. And walk your hands back. Grabbing a block if you need it. Come into shoelace. With your sit bones on the mat or on the blocks, approximately equal with weight. Lift your chest high, crown of your head up. Close your eyes and turn inside. Notice where the sensations in your body are greatest. And breathe into those areas. Maybe you can imagine yourself becoming very small, being able to go inside and watch what's actually happening. Soften your glutes here. Your glutes are the target. Then open your eyes. This time, take your right hand, palm up towards the left front side of your mat. Then take your left elbow underneath the right. And then try to bring your palms together on this side. And you may be far away from that happening. And in fact, it may never happen. But that's okay. This is opening up your shoulders. This big inward rotation. Keeping your shoulder blades and your rotator healthy. Again, like before, push your elbows away, creating a little bit more space. And then lower your shoulder blades. It's hard work, but once you feel it, you might be able to appreciate it a little bit more. Let's see what kind of extra stretch that you get from this. Allow your eyes to close again if they're open. On your next exhale, release. Lower your arms down by your sides. Bring your arms way out to the side. Wiggle your fingers. Stretch. And then bring your palms together. This time, interlace your fingers the opposite direction. The way that feels different or wrong. Supinate your fingers and push your palms away. And notice your shoulders and your hands here, how different it is. And then slowly, over the course of a couple of breaths, raise your palms up towards the ceiling. And compare how this feels versus the other side. How could just that little tiny difference, maybe quarter inch, make a difference this big? And then release. And then inhale, left arm all the way up, reach for the ceiling, and then pat yourself on the back. Right arm comes out, thumb down, and bring that right hand behind your back, and maybe walk your hand up your spine. Maybe you can make a bind on this side. You may never get there. I'm binding in my imagination. Try to keep your spine tall. It's actually closer to making a bind if your spine is straight and tall, rather than curled up. And then release. Shake out your hands. Then make robot arms again. Grab those baby birds, baby robot birds, and then rock your elbows and forearms frontwards and backwards. And then release. The next pose is Dragonfly on the other side. So that's this straddle again. So this time maybe you can just keep your feet frontwards, doesn't matter. You can always roll over your legs, whatever works tonight is good enough. Bring your hands behind your hips, push your heels away, and rotate your feet. Shoelace targets your glutes and your hip sockets. So rotating your femurs in your hip sockets really helps. Brings more fluid. And then when you're ready, just pause. If you're going to use a block or a toe, help yourself. And come out into your straddle. Then you can use blocks if you wish. One side may require blocks, the other might not. You can always add them or take them away. Inhale your spine tall. Right hand to your left knee. Left hand behind your back. Lift your spine tall and then exhale, twist to the left. Feel this stretch all the way from your shoulder, your pecs, up to the top of the right hip. As you breathe, you can probably even feel your serratus muscles. Those sliding to the side, on sides of the ribs. We go back to your left shoulder blade, scapula. Those help, those are one of the stabilizers. then on the exhale, release and come back and look at that left foot. Hook your thumbs together again, just as a control to start. Inhale tall and exhale. Begin to forward fold towards that left foot. Your hands going down on top of that leg. And this side may be radically different than the first side. That's because you have different histories. Different things have happened to your right side body and your left side body. Unless you're ambidextrous, you have a strong side and a weaker side, which comes to be more flexible. Embrace it and understand it so you can appreciate your body more. Come to a point where you can soften. That right leg of yours is working really hard and just won't relax, and just bend that knee. And you can get that fold over that left leg a little bit easier. After all, that is the target. You can still feel this in your obliques, those muscles that you use to twist. Your next inhale, all the way up. Keep your left hand on that left leg. Turn towards your right foot. Inhale tall and exhale. Begin to side bend towards your left shoulder, towards your left foot. Maybe that right arm wants to come behind you, reaching for the top of your left thigh. You don't want to make this into a twist. You should be feeling this in your right side body. And if your organs are all bunched up and you begin to cramp up, just breathe diaphragmatically, pushing your organs down below your rib cage. And then as they readjust, it'll be easier to breathe without that cramping. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next inhale, rise all the way back up. Set any props aside. Help your legs back in front of you. Bring your hands behind your hips. And windshield wiper your knees one last time. Notice how different they feel again. And the next time you come to center pause, come down onto your elbows, all the way down onto your back. Walk your footprints up towards your sit bones and draw your knees into your chest. Give yourself a squeeze. Rock from left to right. And then bring your arms out into T. And lower your knees off to the left. And if your knees don't touch, maybe use a block in between. Maybe you can gaze off towards your right fingers. Maybe there's not enough space for your head. So maybe just move your head an inch to the right. Feel this twist. Again, it's targeting the obliques and your other core muscles. You have an option here if you want to stretch your IT band, stretch that right leg off to the side. You can always use that right hand just to rest on top. And feel your core, your abdomen begin to soften. Notice your glutes. See if they can relax. And if they're having a hard time, just take that right hand right out of the pose. Just reach and run your hand over those muscles that are still engaged. And that will give them permission to soften. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next inhale, bring your knees back to center. Draw them back into your chest. Give yourself a squeeze. Maybe make some circles on the ceiling. Then the opposite direction. And the next time you come to center pause, bring your arms out into T one more time. Lower your knees off to the right, gaze off to the left. And feel this stretch from your lower ribs down to your hips. In twists, most of the twisting is done in your lumbar spine. That's because your ribs are attached to your thoracic spine, preventing them from too much movement. You have the same options. If you want to stretch that IT band, straighten out that leg. Or if you want more of a twist on your lower lumbar spine, just move your knees a little bit closer to the front of your mat. Experiment. Learn what your body likes and what it needs. Soften your lower belly. Soften your thighs. Release your jaw. Soften the muscles in your cheeks and your temples. Surrender to gravity. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next inhale, bring your knees back to center. Give yourself another squeeze. And rock all the way from hip and shoulder on one side to hip and shoulder on the other. Push your hips away. And the next time you come to center, pause there and release one leg out to the front corner of your mat. And then release the other to the other corner. You can bring your arms down by your side or out from your side, any position you wish. But if your palms are facing up, you'll get a little bit more stress relieved. From here, allow your eyes to close. Take a deep cleansing breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Take another cleansing breath in through your nose, out through your nose, and take rest. Begin to deepen your breath. Bring your awareness back into your space. Bring movement to your fingers and to your toes, to your wrists, and to your ankles. Gently roll your head from left to right. And when you're ready, walk your footprints up towards your sit bones. Bring your knees into your chest. Give yourself a squeeze and rock from left to right. And then the next time you come over on your right side, pause there for just a moment. In fetal pose, using your right arm as a pillow. And do a scan of your body to determine if you have any residual stress or tension that still needs to be addressed sometime this week. Make a mental note of that. And then when you're ready, push the floor away with your left hand and rise up to a seated position. Thank you for sharing your yoga practice with me this evening. I'm so grateful to have students who take the time and effort to maintain your health through the practice of yoga. Take the compassion and peace that you practice every day on your mat. Take that with you everywhere you go and share it with each person you might meet. Namaste. My name is Clint, and this has been Yin Yoga. Thanks for coming.